It's Chris Thompson here with Just Add Water. Today, Elijah and I are in Ankeny, Iowa. Elijah here, my assistant, and we are actually out at our house in Ankeny, Iowa, checking out. We're going to show off our pond that we have in our own backyard. So stay with me. Let's check this thing out. So we're going to take you right into the backyard. This was a pond. We rebuilt our pond in 2017, 2018, and basically consumed the whole backyard. You can see as we're entering right here, it's the whole thing. So one of the first things I wanted to do when people came to the yard, I wanted to greet you with a waterfall. So you can see right over here, we've got a waterfall. Turns down, brings it right back down. We've got another waterfall we can see, and Elijah's getting ready to cross. The next thing we wanted to do was, I want you to feel like you've gone somewhere when you get in the backyard. So the only way in is over this bridge. You actually have to cross the pond to get to the yard. You've got this nice stone bridge, and you're surrounded by waterfalls. You got the waterfalls here. We've got the main falls over there, and then we've got another waterfall, and you can see it actually splashes on our bridge a little bit. It's actually kind of a fun spot for kids to sit right down in here and put their hands in there. We've got a 2-year-old, and this was actually his first place of being able to play in the water safely. I just held him from the bridge, and he was able to get his hands in the water when he was a few months old. And of course, you can see these huge koi. We've adopted some big koi from clients. We've grown some koi, and we've had koi have offspring in it here. So there's a good mix of koi in this pond. Next thing we've got here, Elijah actually just walked out on, is this awesome, we call it the viewing stone, but it's a floating rock. You can see the water comes right up to the bottom of it. And it looks like it's floating, and if you notice, you can't even see how it's even supported. It also doubles as a fish cave. As you can see, there's fish that will pop in and out of that thing. We've also got a fish cave right down in here. So, watch them go right underneath that. We've got hiding spots down there. The floating rock. We've got these stepping stones, which actually go to a little fort we built in the side of this berm. A little fort if you want to get down in there, a little hideout. We like to use these stepping stones as sitting rocks. One of the things on designs I wanted to do here is you've got the larger pond behind me. We've got these two sources of water coming down, and I call this the shallower water. These are the water coming out of the hills, cutting through this opening. There's really good current. The fish like to go play in there. Then as you get through here, we add this other waterfall, but then it opens up into the main pond. So this is to mimic what nature does as far as water coming out of the hills, feeding the larger stream water systems, the deeper spot. And that was the goal here. Obviously great sound, but the fish absolutely love going right into this current, and they go back and forth in between here. So this is our decorative waterfall that greets you when you come through that fence. So if you've never been to my house, the first thing you see is this waterfall. It's actually really, really cool the way we built this. It's hard to tell, but this giant rock I'm sitting on actually goes all the way across until this point right here. And then we use this rock to frame this up. This rock right here is actually just in there in the crevice because we wanted to push water over this part, but it looks pretty natural right in there. But this is one of our favorite type of waterfalls. Find a cool rock with a flat spot, pinch it, we'll call these pinch falls, or a 2-stone waterfall. Also up here, we have a Biofall 6000, and this is the biofalls we'll use in a larger pond if we don't have a wetland filter. And this filter box right here, you can actually see it. So it's right in this spot right here, actually will treat a body of water that has 6,000 gallons or less of volume on it. Our pond here has over 10,000 gallons, so this is not enough for this pond, but we've got one here to start this waterfall. All right, obviously now I'm standing in the pond. I'm actually standing on top of one of my fish cages. This big stone I'm standing on covers up and the fish can actually go and hide underneath this thing. Big stone, we actually mimic it with the green stone we're standing on, the bridge, same type of stone. We like to repeat things we do in the pond, so this just helps naturalize it using this. One of the reasons I'm standing here is I want to show up this waterfall. So I like to say everyone has a different taste in waterfalls. We build a lot of waterfalls that are just, you know, nice flat rocks that are sheer drops. Very, very popular. People really like them. I think a more natural waterfall is what we've created here. Is you've got these giant machine rocks. And you can see here that the water looks like it's just eroded right through the rocks. And it's actually worn its own path for the waterfall. That's what happens in nature. Giant rocks, water can't go through the giant rocks, so you cut through the edges of them, or it carves its own path through them. This is what we have here. Alright, so this is my lotus. These plants, these are one of the few plants I will leave in a pot. But this plant is a good reason. So leave in a pot, they will actually spread through your pond. They go a little bit crazy, but they are super cool. You can see right here, I've got a new flower getting ready to open. This one right here is actually an old flower. These are hardy plants. They come back every year. I think I've had this for 3 or 4 seasons. But this flower finished up. And one of the cool things about this plant is you can actually, the texture of the leaf, you can actually, the water just runs off it, the texture on it. It's a super cool plant. It likes shallow water. I leave it in the pot. I drop it down the bottom after it dies back in the fall. We raise it back up in the spring. That means, look, continually shooting up new lilies, or not lilies, new leaves, and then also new flowers. Heavy feeders, awesome plant to have. It does like still water. You can't put it in a big circulation area, and it will also escape this pot and try to take over. So we're out here, we're on these stepping stones we put in the pond. All right, but I wanted to show you, actually just bumped it. This is a Juan Vista water lily. You can see it flowering right now. These lilies are my favorite lilies because every flower is different. Sometimes people ask about maintenance. This is a great example. These are your lily pads, and obviously these are the green ones are the new leaves. They're constantly sending up new shoots. These yellow ones are done. So maintenance-wise, on a lily, you just follow this down. When it turns yellow, you go ahead and pinch it off. Here's another one. These lily pads will last a couple weeks. Right in here, which you're not going to be able to see, there's actually a brand new lily pad coming up. That is your pond maintenance. Big pond maintenance. You just deadhead the lily pad. Alright, so I'm actually in the lower stream. Pond overflows. Into this lower stream, we got this nice little winding stream that comes down to the lower patio. But in the side of it, we're kind of in an area, and this is fast moving water, then we got this little area right here where it's slower, it's tucked back in, but you'll recognize this plant. This is an annual flower orientation, and we actually have this planted directly into the gravel. So this is actually in the water itself, and you can see how healthy it is. By the end of the season, this thing will be like a small shrub. This is a heavy feeder, likes a lot of water. You can actually plant these in the pond in the shallow water. All right, so one of our other favorite parts of the pond is right actually over here. So a lot of people, when you walk by the yard, we're on a corner lot, they can't see this part of the pond. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the water feature. We have what we call a negative or vanishing edge on this pond. What that means is instead of a skimmer or an intake bay, the pond actually overflows out of the pond into this lower stream with this waterfall. And this waterfall actually has a name. When we built it, we didn't realize it right away, but it didn't take us long for us to realize this part right here kind of looks like a gator. We actually call this Gator Falls. So I am sitting on a rock that weighs over 6,000 pounds that we set in here. This is actually the first rock we set on this hill. It frames up this waterfall. We've got this beautiful cut split waterfall stone that dumps the water from the pond into what we call the basin, the actual bottom of the negative edge. This area of the pond, actually below my feet, holds 3,000 gallons of water. It acts as almost like a cistern, evaporation area for the pond itself. We're harvesting water off the roof of the house, directs the water here. It makes this pond very sustainable. It keeps our water in the pond at a constant level, but then also a lot of water storage is down in this area. And also, as you can see, this is where debris ends up. So I've got a lot of debris down in the bottom. This is just maintenance. Most of the debris that ends up falling in the pond gets swept down into this area, and we just collect it out of here. You can see the leaves and other debris down in here. So this is your maintenance. This is your skimmer, so to speak. So I'm sitting on my beach. So one of the things I wanted when I rebuilt my pond was I wanted a beach. So we built it right here. Right now we're full sun. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and this faces the west, so I get full sun. Every morning when I get up and I come out here, this is all shaded from the tree behind me. It's a nice shady area to kind of chill in the morning, relax. But this water, this beach, is actually inside my liner. So if I really want to get ambitious, I can get out here with a shovel. I can actually change the edge of the beach, re-sculpt it. The other thing that's really cool on the beach is every year we get toads, and they come in here and multiply. And I know if I dig around, I'll find a baby toad, but there are usually a lot of baby toads in this area. They really like this area of the pond, and the fish will actually swim up into this area of the pond. We also built, and it's hard to see, but there's actually stairs. We built stairs in the side of the stonework. Not really to get in the water, it's more or less to get out. A lot of people will get down in the water off the viewing stone, or they'll jump in. This is a way for you to actually physically get out where you actually have stairs coming out. So a lot of times we get questions about maintenance on a pond. So this is the wetland filter. This is the main part, the main filter of the pond. On an aquascape wetland filter, we've actually got an access point. This is a aquascape storcal. So once or twice a year, what we'll do is I recommend a minimum of once, but we'll open this up, we'll shut the filter off. We'll open up this filter right here and we'll actually pump the water out. We'll get about 99% of the water will be crystal clear. The last, percent or 2% or whatever, a little bit at the very end will just be sludge. And this is access lid that actually goes to the bottom 4.5, 5 feet down, where we actually pump the water to the bottom of this filter. This is how we clean it. This is our access point to clean it. So I get a lot of people ask, how do you clean your filters? That's it. Like I said, once a year, sometimes twice, depending on the pond. All right, we're down here. This is the lower flagstone patio. So it was important to me to have an area, multiple areas through here. We got the main patios, we got the interactive areas along the ponds, and then we've got this lower patio. We like to camp, we like to travel. This was the spot where we could gather at night, have a fire, make s'mores, and just kind of chill. It's also in the afternoon, it's a great place because it's all shaded. You can see I'm standing right here in the shade, and we've got an awesome view. Look up at the pond. At night, it's a completely different experience being down here versus being up by the pond or even during the day. So on a hot day, this is the north side of the house, and this is always shaded. So one of my favorite spots to sit on a hot day where it's maybe too much to be in the sun is right here. I'll be in the shade, and I actually have got a view, and I can overlook everything. I'd be lying if I told you I'd never fallen asleep out here, because I have. But this is a great spot up by the house, oversee the whole backyard. Hey, thanks for joining me and my son Elijah as we showed off the pond in our own personal backyard. Let me know if you got any questions about that pond. I'll be happy to answer them for you down in the comments. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, and we'll be bringing you some more cool projects we've done over the past few years. Thank you all. Have a great day.